first time I traveled this route was in 2004. I had made a few friends in Umuahia through a friend from school, so I found myself traveling from the north to the east a few times a year just so I could hang out with a bunch of friends. That was the good old days when the roads weren't as scary as they are today, and I was too young to consider that a risk. I love traveling. I still do, if I'm being honest. I had this dream of traveling around the world when I was younger, and somewhere tucked away in my mind, I think I still do, though I'm not sure if I'm allowed to have such dream anymore, being a mom and all. Back in the early 2000s, this road was easily one of the worst roads in Nigeria. I remember how frustrating it was driving from Umuahia to Abia when we came to purchase building materials, especially during the rainy season. Many years later, we are finally telling a different tale, a more encouraging one at that, and I'm so excited to be sharing this tale with you. In Nigeria, just like other parts of the world, bad roads are major contributors to the disasters that occur on our roads, leading to loss of lives, physical and, in so many cases, mental disabilities. I don't think I've ever met someone who has not been directly or indirectly affected by the impact of bad roads in Nigeria. I will share my story with you guys someday, so make sure you're subscribed to this space so you don't miss out on that, okay? Bad roads are also a major contributor to hike in prices of goods due to the high cost of transportation, aside from the increase in fuel prices and insecurity in Nigeria today. My earnest prayer is that the incoming government will pay adequate attention to Nigerian roads, security, unemployment, electricity, and education, among other things, taking a lead from the Akwa Ibom State government as far as the roads are concerned. Now, does the provision of good roads automatically eradicate the disasters that occur among motorists on our roads? I have observed over time how impatient majority of our road users are, despite a series of accidents that occur on those roads daily. I once saw a phrase on a billboard that read, "Drive like you're the only sane person on the road." And I've always kept this at the forefront of my mind ever since, especially when I'm the one behind the wheel. Another phrase most of us are familiar with, I believe, is better late than never. Sometimes I wonder what motorists are thinking when they are honking so annoyingly at one another, cursing under their breath, and sometimes even directly bashing one another with hurtful words. Some time ago, when I was still in Lagos, I witnessed two motorists cause a huge traffic jam on a weekday during the early morning rush hour just because one motorist wouldn't let the other get in front of the line. They both parked their cars in the middle of the road and came out to exchange blows. I used to think there was a bad spirit that possessed people once they got behind the wheel, until I started driving, and then I realized that it's just people. You know that saying, money brings out the true nature of a man, right? I think it should also be Driving brings out the monster in us. In 2007, I, my boss, and her friend were in Accra on a business trip. We were trying to cross one of the expressway using the zebra crossing, though we didn't know what those lines meant at the time. Anyway, there we were standing at the edge of the concrete slabs that divides incoming traffic from the ongoing traffic. Getting to the middle of the road was easy because of less traffic on one side of the road, but getting to the other side was a complete nightmare since it was early morning rush hour on that side of the road. So as soon as we noticed that the vehicles were quite some distance away, we made a run for it. Then we noticed a crowd laughing hilariously. Some of the vehicles had reached the zebra crossing and stopped. Those behind were slowing down, and even the motorists were laughing. From the crowd, people were asking, "Are you Nigerians?" When we responded in the affirmative, they were like, "No wonder." When we got to the factory where we had an appointment, we told them what had happened, and those guys had a field day with us. They laughed their hearts out, but later explained what the lines meant and that motorists would slow down or stop once they approach the sign to enable the pedestrians cross the road conveniently. We were used to running when crossing the roads in Nigeria because instinctively we know that 97.5% of motorists, please you guys should not quote me on that, don't stop for a pedestrian because to them the road is rightfully theirs and the pedestrians should walk on air. We forget that everyone has contributed to the construction of those roads through taxes and revenues. I guess our government needs to start adding proper sidewalks, crossovers, and hangars to the road construction plans to reduce casualties of road accidents. Still, as a motorist, be considerate of the pedestrian, and as a pedestrian, be patient with the motorist. And as for our leaders, the lawmakers, please make adequate provision for the masses that voted you into office, okay? Why do we feel the need to get ahead of everyone else? Where exactly are we rushing to? Sometimes I wonder what people who lost their lives in road accidents while driving were thinking seconds before it all went down. I love going on road trips. I love sitting in the car for hours driving from place to place. Before this whole menace by these hoodlums parading our roads, I really had fun traveling at night with luxurious buses from one part of Nigeria to the other. There wasn't much to see though because my trips were mostly during the night, but there was something beautiful about the experience. In 2009, my family went through a traumatic experience, and one of the ways I dealt with all that emotion was driving for about half an hour to 45 minutes, early hours of the day before the crack of dawn. I wind down the windows and let the fresh morning breeze beat against my skin. No speeding, no rush, just me in the car. No thinking, just being in the moment. It didn't take away all the pain, but it helped me stay clear-headed most of the time. I was going down the drain, but I didn't go down too deep and I didn't stay down too long. Driving is therapeutic for me, and I believe it is for so many people, even though most don't know it. Driving should be an experience, not just a means of going from point A to point B, though that's what it means in the real sense of the word. I remember one of the road trips we took in the 80s. I think it was in 1987, if my memory serves me right. We were traveling from Mubi in Yola, the former Gongola state, to Obaru in Anambra state, and my dad was driving. The journey lasted for over 36 hours, but the memory have stayed with me for years. I remember my mom had brought with her a big cooler filled with jollof rice and a 10-liter keg filled with water. She had plates, spoons, pillows, blankets. We ate several times and even slept by the side of the road during this trip. I wonder how the rice lasted so long after so many hours on the road, because I recall we still had some left when we arrived at our hometown. I guess tamakul of those days was made of extraordinary quality compared to what we have today. Anyway, we had a Toyota Corolla that had 2 doors, which were the driver and passenger's doors, and the rest of the car were covered except for the boot that had glass windshield. So we had to kneel on the car seats facing the boot so we could see the road through the windshield. It was fun watching how the trees and houses and cars and people and goats and chickens and all the grass stayed behind while we moved farther away from them all. I remember how we stopped in villages along the road to ease ourselves, then eat, then buy more snacks, and my daddy took some time to rest and get some sleep, and how we continued our trip a few hours later. We had no reason to fear. The roads were safe, the villagers were friendly and wonderful, and I can't seem to remember any potholes. Maybe there were a few, but nothing comes to mind. I remember how excited we were knowing that we're going to meet family members we've never met before, and longed to confirm all the stories we've been told about the place our parents called home. I don't know if my siblings have such memories. I know my brothers were quite young at the time, but I don't know if my sister remembers any of this. My memories are quite sketchy though, but I still see so much of the events that occurred back then when I close my eyes. These thoughts have caused me to wonder about the migration journey of our ancestors. What they went through moving from different parts of the world to settle in this part of Nigeria we call home. How much of those informations were passed down and how much we know about the world we live in today. I feel like the reason we are so occupied with getting ahead today is because we know little to nothing of how we got to where we are. We are called Nigerians today, but I bet you, if you're given the opportunity to look back at 300 to 500 years ago, you will be shocked to know where your ancestors migrated from and the journey that brought them here. Why and how they traveled, and some of the things that they encountered on their journey. And you would learn that they were patient with one another. They understood the importance of company, and they were more focused on arriving well and healthy rather than getting ahead of each other. And no matter what they encountered, I'm sure they tried to help one another stay on course for as long as they could. This is what I'm trying to share in this video. Life shouldn't be about getting ahead of everyone. It shouldn't be a competition, but an experience, an opportunity to play a role in making our planet a better place. Welcome to Umuahia, guys. Are you from Umuahia? Have you been to Umuahia? Do you live in Umuahia? Let me know in the comments below. And also, share your thoughts on the city with me down below, okay? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, subscribe to join me on this journey, share your thoughts with me in the comment section, and also share this video with your family and friends. I'm Kemdy Mbago, and this is Life with Kemdy, sharing life's experience, adventures, and everything in between. Till I see you in the next one, stay safe, stay blessed. Much love from here. Bye.